Have you ever wondered how to ace a product manager interview at Google? Well, your ability to navigate through challenging hypothetical questions will absolutely be the key to your success. And in my experience, the biggest challenge product managers have during their job interviews at Google is that they spend way too much time ideating and not enough time executing. In this video, we are going to tackle a very common product manager question that they ask at Google and show you how to execute throughout your answer. Let's dive in. And as always, our fake interviewer is Sue, and let's imagine she asks us the following question. How would you handle negative user feedback for your product? Okay, Sue, before diving in, I'd like to ask a few clarifying questions. Is the negative feedback general or about a specific feature or features? Are we receiving this feedback from a broad user group or a specific user segment? I'd want to know, is the feedback coming through structured channels like Google Support and our feedback forms, or is it coming through unstructured channels like social media, for example? I want to know if we've implemented any recent changes to our product that's maybe causing this negative feedback. And then my last question would simply be, how much time do I have to turn this negative feedback around? Do I have a month, a quarter, 2 quarters, etc.? Okay, a few items we're probably going to want to consider before solving are, we're definitely going to want to look at that user segmentation. We're going to look at all the feedback channels. We absolutely want to prioritize. We want to look at the impact analysis. Definitely be thinking about our communication plan. We want to do some more root cause analysis, look at iteration cycle or cycles, and then think about success metrics. So before taking those items and solving, let's make a few assumptions. I'm going to assume that the negative feedback is, let's say it's about Google Photos, for example. And the feedback is significant and impacts our key user segment, specifically professional photographers, who heavily rely on advanced search and storage features. Let's say we have access to comprehensive data on this feedback, including quant and qual, and we can look at all things from Google Support to app reviews to social media, etc. Let's say that this negative feedback can be mapped to specific product features, such as the accuracy and the search functionality and the efficiency of storage management. And let's say our goal is to turn it around in the next quarter or so. So I think a good starting point would definitely be discussing that user segmentation and feedback channels. But is there another area you'd like to focus on first? Okay, to effectively handle negative user feedback, we need to start by understanding the specific user segment affected and the channels through which the feedback was received. So by identifying the key user segment affected, we can look at professional photographers and form this path for this specific segment. And we know that they are relying heavily on that search functionality for specific photos, and that they want, obviously, efficient storage management to handle the large volumes, especially of high-res photos. When we look at the feedback channels, we're going to need to analyze everything. So structured feedback from Google Support tickets and feedback from forms that provide specific data points that we can prioritize. Unstructured feedback from social media and maybe some app reviews probably is going to require a little bit more effort, but might provide deeper insights into user sentiment. So utilizing tools like text analysis and sentiment analysis can help in parsing that unstructured feedback. Then we'll dive into root cause analysis. We want to understand the root cause because we need to look at whether the issue is in the search algorithm's accuracy, the UI, or the storage management system. Now, conducting user interviews and usability testing can provide deeper insights into these underlying issues. Then we prioritize. And so we prioritize based on their feedback and user satisfaction because we got to look at all the business metrics. So not all the feedback will be equally important. Utilizing some sort of prioritization matrix can help in focusing on the most impactful issues first. And then, for example, if the search functionality is failing to recognize maybe certain image types, this could be prioritized higher than maybe minor UI glitches. So we're off to a good start. We can definitely dive more into user segmentation and feedback channels Or we could focus on impact analysis in our communication plan. Do you have a preference? Okay, so we've gone through those initial steps. And so now we need to address them and communicate those challenges to our users. So when we think about impact analysis, this really involves assessing how the changes will affect user satisfaction, retention, and other key metrics. So we have to run A/B tests and or pilot programs to validate the effectiveness of the proposed solutions before we do that full rollout. So if we're improving the search algorithm's accuracy for certain image types, we can test that with a small group of professional photographers before wider implementation. Then we got to communicate. So we want to manage user expectations and demonstrate that we value their feedback. So we want to start by acknowledgement, promptly acknowledging, hey, we're getting this feedback, and informing users that we're working on solutions. Then we want to be transparent about the progress and expected timeline of those fixes, hopefully within that quarter. And then we want to engage with users through surveys and beta testing to get further insights and validate our changes. Then we're going to iterate. We're going to incorporate this user feedback into the product development lifecycle and treat it as an ongoing part of our process to ensure continuous improvement. And this means continuing to regularly update users on the status of their feedback, the changes, and continuing to move on and improve the functionality. And then we can solicit feedback from these professional photographers to ensure that the changes that we've meet their needs and continue to meet their needs. So we've covered a lot so far. And I think at this point, it probably makes sense to move on and talk a little bit about success metrics, unless there's anything else you'd like to discuss or dive deeper into. Okay, so to ensure our efforts are successful, we need to not only define, but track those metrics. So we'll start by looking at user satisfaction scores, tracking changes in user satisfaction through surveys and feedback forms specifically targeted at these professional photographers. Then we're going to look at user retention rates. We're going to monitor those retention rates to see if changes have positively impacted user loyalty among this key segment. Then we're going to analyze the usage data of improved search functionality and storage management features to ensure they're meeting the user expectations. We're definitely going to look at our support tickets. Are these reducing, and a decrease in support tickets related to these issues definitely can indicate a successful problem resolution. NPS, our Net Promoter Score, tracking NPS among professional photographers to gauge overall user satisfaction and the likelihood of recommending Google Photos to others is also huge. And then we're going to continuously monitor these metrics so we can assess the impact of our changes and make further adjustments as needed. For example, if user satisfaction and NPS improve among professional photographers, it would indicate that our solutions are effective. I think we've hit a good stopping point, but I'm happy to discuss any of the concepts I mentioned earlier or dive deeper into any other aspect you'd like to discuss. So, as always, these hypothetical answers feel long because I'm not interacting with anyone. And of course, I had the time to script out and propose this very ideal answer. Simply make sure when you listen to this overall answer that you are always driving towards execution, especially when interviewing as a product manager. All the solutions in this answer involved ideation backed by execution. I wish you the best of luck.